about a guy who opens a restaurant where the grandmas are the chefs. Really, watch that one with Mom this weekend. You won't regret it.
I love that movie.
The documentary Britain and the Blitz.
Just really eye-opening and amazing footage.
And our favorite streaming series of the week, Poker Face. Actually, it's one of our favorite streaming series, period.
Yeah, I love anything she's in.
Poker Face on Peacock. If you haven't seen it, watch season 1 and then watch season 2. Thanks for joining us. Happy Mother's Day.
FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. The state of Utah taking a note from the federal government.
What is actually working? What's wasting time and money? And what needs to be rebuilt from the ground up? If something isn't delivering value to the citizens of this state, we should stop doing it and do something else.
The time is 1 o'clock on Friday, May 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, Governor Cox announcing a new DOGE-type initiative to examine state departments. Also this hour,
for me, getting to watch that in my classroom, it was amazing.
How Utah's youth are feeling about the selection of the first American Pope and what experts say about the future of the Catholic Church under Pope Leo's direction. But first, our top stories. Utah is getting its own form of DOGE, kind of. KSL News Radio's Adam Small explains.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox is launching a new initiative called GRIT, aimed at improving the efficiency of the state government.
I hesitate a little bit to just say this is our version of DOGE, but it is.
The governor says that one of the key differences with this and DOGE is that the state does audits and cuts every single year, while the federal government does not. And because of that, he says they're not looking to just do mass layoffs or cut services.
Cox says there could be changes coming to some jobs or programs, but he says it's done with the goal of making them work better. Our top national stories this hour from ABC News. President Trump posted on social media he's willing to lower trade tariffs on China from 145% to 80%. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
As for the 80% number, that was a number the president threw out there, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
Representatives from the U.S. and China will be in talks this weekend in Switzerland. A lower tariff was one of China's demands for their attendance. Senator Patty Murray is calling on the Trump administration to lower tariffs on Chinese-made gear for babies and young children. She says the current 145% tariffs could cost the average American family another $4,000 per year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the market's doing a bit of a change. The Dow now down by 68 points, sitting at 41,297. S&P, though, up by 2 points, and the NASDAQ is up by 3 points. More than a decade after the first recall of Takata airbags, regulators are still trying to get all the affected vehicles in for repairs.
The auto industry has known for 16 years that Takata airbag inflators could explode, even in a low-speed fender bender, spraying drivers and passengers with plastic and metal. At least 28 people in the U.S. have been killed. Despite the recalls and public awareness campaigns, it's estimated that 5.7 million vehicles are still on the road with their original Takata airbags.
That is ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. National reports say President Trump is going to create a college sports commission. The commission would focus on creating new rules to regulate player transfers, conference alignments, and a big focus will be on players getting paid with name, image, and likeness deals.
Utah, BYU, Utah State, even Weber State, Southern Utah, everybody's been impacted by this in some way, shape, or form. Some have been able to take advantage of it. Some have been the victim of it.
KSL Sports Zone host Scott Gerard says the schools want some type of guardrails in place with NIL so everyone is on a level playing field. Reports say the president has asked former Alabama football coach Nick Saban to run this new commission. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Right now, we do have some busy traffic northbound I-15, and it gets a little slow in that right lane between just before 33rd South up to the I-80-201 junction. But the more consistent delays are due to construction in Weber County, northbound I-15, going through Roy and Riverdale. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine, a high today of 82, up to near 90 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. Mother's Day, just a very slight chance of showers. Right now, 79 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
It's no baloney. Proper window installation makes a huge difference. Hi, this is Jason.
And Kathy of Window World. Hey, anybody can bust out your old windows and slap in the new ones and leave you with a mess.
Our in-house installers are thoroughly trained to expertly install, seal, and trim your new window.
And they clean up afterwards.
Our windows have a transferable lifetime warranty.
And we warranty the installation, too.
Call Window World at 281-8111.
Window World. And as Doug always said,
that's no baloney.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
A new plan from Governor Cox to make state government more efficient. It's called GRIT, which stands for Government Reform, Innovation, and Transparency.
It's about making sure that the taxpayer dollars are being spent in the most efficient way. Sometimes that means cutting, sometimes that means increasing or moving from one program to another, finding a program that's not working and moving that to a program that is working.
Thank you for joining me today on Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. In this news show, we'll report the news and tell the stories of the people behind it. We'll ask the pertinent questions, dig deeper into the news, and share the stories that connect us all. To our longtime Inside Sources listeners, we welcome you to this new show. Let's begin this discussion with KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who was there as the governor announced this new initiative today.
Today, Utah Governor Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor Dietrich Henderson put pen to paper surrounded by various state department heads to officially launch the Government Reform, Innovation, and Transparency Initiative.
If something isn't delivering value to the citizens of this state, we should stop doing it and do something else with those limited resources that we have.
The order requires every state agency to submit one project to improve efficiency by July 1st, use public feedback, and report any cost or work time savings or any services that have been improved.
It's not just about fixing systems, although it is about fixing systems. It's also about building a culture where every public servant is empowered to actually solve problems, and every taxpayer is empowered to get results.
Along with taking public input, the governor says they're also going to share their progress with the public. He was also directly asked if this was Utah's version of Doge.
I hesitate a little bit to just say this is our version of Doge, but it is.
He said the key difference is Utah leaders do numerous audits and cuts every single year, while the federal government does not. So while there could be cuts in some areas, they're not just looking to hack and slash jobs and services.
Sometimes you slash something and the thing gets worse, right? We want to make things more efficient.
And while Cox said they're not looking to do mass layoffs, he did say
there may be some changes.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Let's get into the heart of the story, go more in depth on what this new initiative will look like. The governor spoke more about what state agencies will do under GRIT.
They will be submitting improvement projects for the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget. They will be launching internal efficiency projects for every single division, office, or bureau in state government. They'll be participating in what we started with the legislature a couple of years ago, but we're going to be expanding that, the Efficiency and Process Improvement Collaborative, which is EPIC, the Efficiency and Process Improvement Collaborative, which is a statewide collaboration for learning and problem solving between the legislature and the executive branch. Going to be using more public feedback, as I mentioned, gathered through our Customer Experience Initiative to improve service delivery. We want to decrease times, decrease friction, make it easier for people to obtain the services the government is providing for them. And then we're going to be tracking these real results, including cost savings, time savings, and better service, so that we can hold ourselves accountable and so that the public that we serve can hold us accountable as well.
Some have already started to voice concerns that this new statewide DOGE type of effort could lead to cuts in things like social services. But the governor said that won't be the case.
It's not reducing services, it's improving services. So what I would like to see is, for example, we have waiting lists in social services in some areas. People that qualify for help but can't get it because we don't have enough funding. Well, there's two ways to help get people off of those social services lists, right? We can we can increase funding, which the legislature can do that, can only do that. That's their job, right? Or we can find savings in other places where again it's not that efficient, and move it to places where we can help get people off of those waiting lists. And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is not to just cut back what's already working and helping people. It's so we can help people more and fill some of those gaps that are already out there and broken.
The federal government's DOGE has come under fire for mass layoffs and what is being called a slash and cut approach rather than a surgical approach. Governor Cox says that way of doing things won't happen under GRIT.
We're not looking at mass layoffs. That's not what this is about at all. There may be some changes that happen. And look, I like to point this out. If you look at federal employment, and not just the federal employees, you have to look at the contractors as well to see that number and how it's increased over time. We have not seen that. We've had a 48% increase in our population over the last 20 years. And only a 7% increase in our employees. So again, because of our caution, because we cut FTEs every single year, we are running as bare bones as you possibly can in a state government. Again, we are the most efficient state government. And so I'm not out there looking to just cut a whole bunch of jobs. Now, we may need to move some people in some other ways that will be better, where we find better processes, better ways to do these types of things, better way to deliver services. But this is that's another thing that's different from this piece. We're trying to empower our employees to make things better, not trying to make our employees scared of their jobs. It's we have the best state employees in any state in the nation, and we want them to leave this initiative feeling actually empowered, that they get to do their jobs even better than they were doing them before.
Governor Cox's executive order goes into effect immediately. Like Adam Small mentioned just a few minutes ago, state agency heads have until July 1st to submit their proposals and plans to make their agencies more efficient. We've reached out to several groups representing state employees to get their takes on this new initiative, but we haven't heard yet back from them. Stay with us here on Midday. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information information by dialing 800-375-8936. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-375-8936, 800-375-8936, 800-375-8936.
State leaders are taking a hard look at homelessness and hoping new voices can bring new ideas. KSL 5 TV's Daniel Woodruff takes a closer look at potential new plans.
State leaders say they're optimistic about the path forward, and they've now added a new, unique voice to this discussion.
I'm going on, 19 years clean and sober.
Mo Egan once lived on the streets in San Francisco.
I was homeless in the Tenderloin district for 10 years, so I got a good idea of what's out there and how to help a person get to the other side.
Egan moved to Utah 9 years ago and is the newest member of the state's Homeless Services Board tasked with addressing that issue. During a board meeting today, State Homeless Coordinator Wayne Niederhauser said Utah needs to go after a bold goal.
I proposed something to think about, and that's to end unsheltered homelessness by 2030.
Meaning people who camp or sleep in places they shouldn't.
That's the part that I would like to see ended, and having places for people to go.
Part of that, he says, includes building what's called a transformative campus, at least 20 acres, with shelter and services on site, paid for with both private and public money.
We've been looking at several properties.
Primarily, Niederhauser says, in Salt Lake County.
I think we're probably 3 to 6 months to maybe making an announcement. We just don't want anybody being in a situation that they don't have a roof over their head.
Leaders also say the state's Homeless Services Board has been restructured to be more effective and more efficient as they try to tackle the issue of homelessness.
It's an ambitious goal, but one that Niederhauser hopes can become a reality. President Trump suggesting a new plan to tax the rich. That's according to reporting from the New York Times. It's something you don't usually see from Republicans. Remember George H.W. Bush when he ran for election for the first time?
My opponent won't rule out raising taxes, but I will, and the Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no. And they'll push, and I'll say no. And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
Once in office, President H.W. Bush raised taxes on the rich after all. President of the Utah Taxpayers Association, Billy Hesterman, spoke to David Dujanovic this morning about the reports that President Trump could raise taxes, even if it's just on the rich.
It's surprising. It seems like we all thought President Trump was going to ask everyone or ask Congress to put through his big, beautiful bill of tax cuts. And this certainly feels like one change where he's, turning away from what he said he was going to do.
Dave Noriega speaking with Hesterman about this change and how it feels more Bernie Sanders-like than Donald Trump-like.
What shocks me is it sounds like very much, I mentioned Bernie Sanders earlier, but cutting taxes on overtime Social Security and tips and then raising taxes on the rich, isn't that straight out of the Bernie Sanders playbook?
It sure feels that way. I mean, when you look at what the Tax Foundation does a report on how much everyone pays their share of the income tax, that top 1% pays 40% of the income tax money. The top 5% pays 61% of it. So to say that, the rich aren't paying their fair share maybe isn't the right way to put it. But right now, this feels more political, that President Trump wants to just get the people who say he just gave a tax cut to the rich off his back so that they'll like him more for the upcoming 3 years.
This story comes as House Republicans continue to try and negotiate with President Trump on what he is calling a big, beautiful bill. Republicans are still trying to get much of his agenda passed before Memorial Day. However, the tax portion of the reconciliation bill is still not finalized as Republican lawmakers are working through some of their policy differences. President Trump has given his endorsement for the next leader of Utah's Republican Party. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp is going to join me with that story next. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style Homegrown Loans. Ricky?
Construction delays northbound I-15 in Roy and Riverdale. And then northbound I-15 in Salt Lake County, a small accident is now moved out of traffic in Sandy just after the Southtown Mall on the right shoulder, but still seeing some slower speeds northbound I-15 between 33rd South and 1300 South. The secret to healthy, thriving plants is great soil. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost is a game changer for your veggie garden, flower beds, and trees. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost at oakdale.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Jeff Kaplan.
His Minute of News is great. It's always entertaining.
I listen to Jeff Kaplan every day. He gives you important news and traffic and the familiar voice that helps you enjoy the ride home.
I really like Jeff's Minute of News. He's calm and he's balanced.
I really enjoy driving home and just listening to what he's got to say.
Jeff Kaplan gets me home every day.
Join the community that relies on Jeff Kaplan. He has you covered. Afternoons from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, what a great place to have dinner anytime, but for special occasions, it truly is wonderful. Now, I know Mother's Day is in the rearview mirror now, but that's where Dee and I celebrated, and each and every order, each and every steak cooked to absolute perfection. You're going to love what Ruth's Chris Steakhouse can do for you for any meal and any special occasion. And there are two locations. There's Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City at 275 South on West Temple. When that entree comes to your table, it is on a sizzling hot 500-degree plate to make sure whatever you ordered, whether it's a steak, seafood, poultry, whatever it may be, is warm and delicious to the very last bite. The desserts are just beyond compare. The side dishes, the service. It's time for you to experience Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sale. See delivery details.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. President Trump's endorsements haven't always helped candidates down ballot, and sometimes his endorsements have confused people. He's picked candidates who weren't always popular with party delegates, for instance. Midday executive producer Andy Kupp has been following a story dealing with another Trump endorsement that could play a major role in the future of Utah's Republican Party. Andy?
So, Maria, in about 1 week, the state's Republican Party will come together for their state convention. On the agenda this year is picking a party chair. The frontrunners for the Republican Party have been incumbent party chair Rob Axson, who's running for a second term, and Phil Lyman, the former state lawmaker and gubernatorial candidate. Last night, President Trump took to his Truth Social account and endorsed a slew of party chairs all across the country, and among the posts, an endorsement for Rob Axson to continue in his position within the party. The president writing, quote, "Rob Axson has dedicated his life to the Republican Party and the great state of Utah. He is strongly supported by many, including highly respected Senator Mike Lee and Governor Spencer Cox." And then the post finishes in all caps, "He will never let you down." This morning, I spoke with Axson about the endorsement and what it means to him. He says he's honored to know that the president supports him.
I'm grateful that he sees in Utah an opportunity for us to continue to be a force for good in the American West. And I think he's seen firsthand what I've delivered for the Utah Republican Party. I've been able to earn his trust. And again, I'm honored to have received his support and endorsement.
Axson told me that the endorsement wasn't a complete surprise in theory. He knew the president liked what he and the Utah Republican Party were doing, but he said actually reading the words, that was a bit of a shock.
President Trump's been able to see the work that I've done and what we've done as a Utah Republican Party in deploying resources and volunteers to Arizona and Nevada, helping in his reelection efforts and getting him back into the White House. So he's seen me through the years. He knows my style and approach. He knows my commitment to our party and to our party platform and my love for Utah. And through that, I've been able to earn his trust. We have regular conversations as the chair of the party with his administration. He has a number of phenomenal Americans working for him. I engage with them on a regular basis. I've had the privilege of engaging directly with President Trump a number of times. And certainly I have those conversations, but when that post on Truth Social came out yesterday, that was a surprise to me as well, and certainly something I appreciate. I had it shared with me by friends, and I definitely was surprised, but appreciative nonetheless.
So by endorsing Axson, the president has basically decided to not endorse Phil Lyman.
Okay, has Phil Lyman responded to the president's endorsement of his opponent?
I reached out to Lyman to get his comments and his thoughts this morning. I haven't heard back yet, but he has, however, posted on social media. He posted on X last night saying, quote, "Remember, MAGA is about America, and I love it. My support for Donald Trump is not contingent on his support for me. We have work to do." Then in another post this morning, he says, quote, "Do we want to continue to bow to the money and power, or do we want to stand for a Republican form of government where just power is derived by the consent of the governed?" Lyman, as you'll recall, won the party's nomination to be governor at the state convention last spring, but eventually lost to Spencer Cox in the Republican primary. Several lawsuits were filed. It didn't end up going anywhere. During that entire process, Axson was chairing the state's Republican Party. When I spoke to Axson earlier, I asked him, what is his message to those delegates who didn't want him but might now be a little lost considering the president's endorsement?
I think as a delegate, you play a special role in engaging on behalf of your neighborhood and your community to represent the party. Our party is strong because we embrace our grassroots and our delegate process. That's where the rubber meets the road. And so I don't think anybody should ever expect delegates to be in complete agreement, nor should any candidate or elected official or party leadership position have somebody who expects that a delegate will support them. I think that's something that you have to continue to earn. So I look forward to earning the support of delegates And my commitment is that we will continue to deliver in ways that the party has delivered these last 2 years. I've raised more money than the party has ever raised. We've deployed more resources supporting our convention winners in our delegate process than has ever been done. We've elevated the capacity and ability of the Utah Republican Party to be a force for good.
Utah Republican Party delegates will pick the next chairman at their convention, which is next Saturday, May 17th. Delegates can arrive for check-in beginning at 7:30 a.m., and this year it's going to be at Utah Valley University.
Okay, interesting local political news, to say the least. And now, out of curiosity, how many Republican delegates are there?
So I asked him that too, and he said there's about 4,000, but there's a good chance they won't all be there next weekend. You know, emergencies, scheduling conflicts, distance may keep a few of them away, but it's a large number. He also told me that this is a 2-year term, so he was elected in 2023, and if he gets elected this time, or whoever gets elected this time, will be party chair until 2027.
It's going to be interesting to watch.
Yes, it will.
Thanks, Andy. It's 1:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. The first American Pope, what can we expect to see for the future of the Catholic Church? Cool things in Utah you can check out this weekend, and KSL traffic. Ricky?
Right now, we have our construction delays, and they're pretty solid. If you're headed northbound I-15, approaching 5600 south in Roy into Riverdale. Also, unusual slowdown southbound I-15 going from Murray to Midvale. Maria?
Thank you, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, the latest from ABC News.
Of ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A federal judge ordering the release of a Tufts University student today.
The Tufts University student was swept off the streets by masked ICE agents in March as neighbors nervously looked on. Trump administration officials say Rumeysa Ozturk lost her right to remain in the U.S. when she co-wrote an op-ed in her student newspaper urging Tufts to divest from firms with ties to Israel. A federal judge in Vermont has now ruled she must be released on bond from detention in Louisiana while her immigration case proceeds, saying her jailing amounted to an egregious First Amendment violation. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump, in a social media post, says he would be okay to hike taxes on some wealthy Americans. It comes as House Republicans are working to finalize a budget bill. A day after the first American Pope was elected to lead the Catholic Church, Pope Leo holding a Mass for the College of Cardinals in the Sistine Chapel. The Vatican says his inaugural Mass will be May 18th at St. Peter's. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Every single passenger on a tour bus from Denver is safe and sound after the bus broke down and caught fire. Happened on Highway 191 in Grand County. The bus was carrying 6th graders and their chaperones on a camping trip. Everyone got off the bus safely, and the tour company sent another bus to come get them. One of Utah's largest water projects could soon see its funding dry up. The Trump administration is proposing a $609 million cut to the Bureau of Reclamation and the Central Utah Project, which diverts water from the Colorado River to the Uinta Basin.
It seems what the Trump administration has put on the radar to be cut is funding for fish and wildlife and water conservation measures, which support the fish and wildlife legacy that Utahns have inherited from previous generations.
Executive Director of Utah Rivers Council, Zach Frankel, says that recreation and tourism is what supports our economy, and to get that support, we need to continue putting money into the region's water supply. Your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down. Well, not quite at the end of the day. I'm rushing things along. Right now, the Dow is down by about 99 points, about 0.25%, sitting at 41,273. The S&P is just down by a fraction. The NASDAQ, it's up by 3 points. Summit County has decided not to give any money to the Sundance Institute this year since it's leaving Utah for Colorado. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
The Restaurant Tax Committee is in charge of allocating just over $4 million in sales tax revenues. In past years, Sundance has received $250,000 for marketing its film festival. This year, the Tax Commission only recommended giving them $85,000, but the Summit County Council told the committee the money should go to an organization which plans to stay along the Wasatch Front. KCPW reports the Restaurant Tax Committee will have to reconvene to decide where to allocate the extra funds they now have. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Golf carts are now allowed on city streets in Highland.
It's the first city in Utah County to approve the carts for roads.
Drivers have to be 18 years or older, and the carts can't be taken out after dark or on state roads. This was an ordinance several residents asked for, including David Gleave.
Bringing community together and offering families a chance to get out with their kids and connect with people in the community.
The carts are only allowed on streets where the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. The council says they can change the limit after getting more experience with the new ordinance. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Delays in the construction zone with lane restrictions northbound I-15, Roy and Riverdale, and a new accident northbound I-15 right about 6 North. All vehicles right now are over to the right shoulder, so no delay, but we're still waiting for emergency crews. Another true David versus Goliath miracle movie from director T.C. Christensen. See Raising the Bar, the story of high jumper Elma Richards' journey from rural Utah to an Olympic gold medal. In theaters now. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a warm one for Mother's Day. 82 for a high today. 88 degrees by Sunday. Very slight chance of showers on Sunday. Right now, 81 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Think you've seen it all? The 2025 venue is prepped. The athletes have trained. Food's on standby. The weekend and weather are clear for the event to be epic. It's the 2025 Soldier Hollow Classic Memorial Weekend, May 23rd through 26th. The greatest value for families and fun. Experience some of the best entertainment and athleticism as they test the boundary between canine and human bonds. Plus, the festival. Amazing food and merchandise, bagpipes, demonstrations, activities, and great sponsors. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. A weekend filled with value and family fun. Nestled in a redesigned Olympic venue. Soldier Hollow. 4 days of adventure, competition, animal and bird demos, plus much more. Something for everyone. The Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. Nutrition that performs. Powder River. Exclusive livestock and canine equipment sponsor. IFA Country Stores. Helping to grow the things you love. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com. SoldierHollowClassic.com.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimers.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The announcement of a new pope, the first American pope in history, has prompted a lot of questions about how this new pontiff will lead and direct the Catholic Church. Will he continue in the same direction of Pope Francis, or will he change things up? How could Pope Leo's background influence how he leads? ABC's Stephen Portnoy spoke with Terry Moran on the Start Here podcast about the new pope.
The world has witnessed history, and a new era of the Catholic Church has begun. Tens of thousands of the faithful, and more than a few happy tourists who surely aren't Catholic, broke into enormous cheers in St. Peter's Square as white smoke emerged from the Sistine Chapel chimney.
Habemus Papam.
Ending a conclave that lasted just 24 and a half hours, the College of Cardinals chose Chicago-born Robert Francis Prevost on the 4th ballot. Formerly the Archbishop of Chiclayo, Peru, he selected the name Leo XIV, and he spoke to the throngs from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in fluent Italian.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran covered the election of Pope Benedict, Pope Francis, and now Pope Leo. So let's bring Terry in from our ABC News workspace in Vatican City. Terry, take us through it. What was it like when the white smoke appeared and Pope Leo XIV walked out on the balcony?
Well, see, when the white smoke appeared, just a thrill went through that crowd like a wind, and then The crowd just erupted in joy. It was a physical sensation. And then the cheers, it was unexpected. People thought it might go longer, and there was a thrill out there, no question about it. And then the name, an American. People were stunned, absolutely stunned. And then out he came in very plain, simple Italian and Spanish. He spoke to that crowd of the basic virtues and values of the gospel.
Della nostra carità, la nostra presenza, il dialogo, l'amore.
We have to be a church that works together to build bridges and to keep our arms open, like this very piazza, welcoming.
You knew instantly who he was, the kind of man he is, and the kind of pope that he will be.
It's definitely profound. First American pope ever.
This is incredible, a sign of hope personally.
It was an amazing moment. You had to pinch yourself that we have an American pope and he's Leo the 14th. It's really one of those moments.
So what do we know about this new Pope Leo? Tell us about it.
Well, he's a Chicagoan, which, as myself born in Chicago, I think is excellent. It's just an excellent thing. But he was from the south side of Chicago, one of three brothers, went to college at Villanova, and sometime there seemed to have had the experience of vocation and decided to dedicate his life to the church, to the people of God, to God.
When he was in first grade, a woman across the street that we used to play with the kids said he would be the first American pope in first grade.
And has had a remarkable life. He spent a long time in Peru on mission, working with the poorest people there. And that seemed to have really shaped his experience and shaped how he views what the church can do in the world. He's had a role recently here in the Vatican, helping to decide which priests around the world should become bishops. That generally is a stepping stone to the papacy because you know everybody, but really he's only been doing that for a couple of years.
We used to tease him, you're going to be pope someday. You're too holy. And, joking, ribbing. And when he went into the seminary, it's like, oh, wow, okay. And then a couple of years ago when the pope made him a cardinal, it's like, this could happen.
And he is somebody who has a reputation of seriousness, of fairness, of kindness, and of decisiveness.
I do believe that Pope Leo XIV is going to serve with great faith. He's a very humble, a very kind person.
He's somebody who I think the cardinals see that can run the Vatican. The Vatican's a big, complex bureaucracy that is clunky and has been frustrating popes for a long time. This is a man familiar with it, and he's a good manager. He's also someone clearly who tries to walk the walk of the gospel. He lives, he's an Augustinian priest, which means he took a vow of poverty. So he lives simply, and you can tell that in his bearing. And he lives as sincerely as he can. You can tell that he tries to tell it like it is and not get too ruffled. I think what they saw in him was a kind of stability and continuity. He clearly embraces many of the values that Pope Francis talked about, getting the church out to where it is most needed, that sense that Francis had of a church on the battlefield, to the poor, with whom he had very close contact for all the years he was in Peru.
Let us pray together for this new mission, for the whole church, and peace on earth.
To the people in need, in pain, psychological pain, to the migrants, to people in war-torn regions, that I think will continue. But he'll also manage the Vatican in a way that might make that message even more important and effective. And he's an American.
It will help bring America and the world, I think, a little bit more together, because in the last year or so, things have been a bit tense.
And whether he likes it or not, he is instantly one of the two global American figures right now, the other being President Donald Trump. And the relationship between those two men will be fascinating.
Yesterday on Midday, we heard from several adults who shared their thoughts on the new pope, but one perspective we didn't hear was the opinion of young people. What do they think of the whole event, and especially the new pope? KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera spoke with several teens who had gathered outside the Cathedral of the Madeleine as they celebrated this historic event. Here's 13-year-old Benjamin Just.
It's really crazy how fast we all went to this amazing community and stuff. Like, we walked into history, and my history teacher says, also, white smoke from the Vatican, and history class immediately turned into a watching party. We all stayed in during our free time recess. And then in choir, we were all huddled around one of our choir director's phone, anxiously waiting for this amazing announcement to happen.
Yeah, so how do you feel about it? Are you excited that, this person is, the next pope is from America? Does that mean something special to you?
Yeah, it does. I think it's really cool to have a pope from my nationality. I think it's going to be really interactive in seeing how it plays out because he is the first American pope.
A sixth grader, Eva Peterson, shared similar sentiments.
I'm feeling a lot of excitement, and I'm very, I don't know what he's going to do, but I hope he carries on, the deeds of Pope Francis, and I hope he really gets, God's message through.
Matthew Luposh, also a sixth grader, described the moment that his class heard the news of the new pope being selected.
Oh, it was very crazy. It was during choir, and everybody threw things, and things were flying around.
Alicia Tataretti said that this was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that she will never forget.
I'm really excited. I was really surprised that they picked the pope so soon and so fast, and I was really amazed that they did it so soon.
Yeah, and do you think this is a big deal to you? Is this, it seems like it doesn't happen very often, right?
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many people, and some people don't even get to watch that, and for me, getting to watch that in my classroom, it was amazing.
KSL TV Share Park spoke with a few more students who attend Catholic school Juan Diego High School in Draper. Now, their students gathered in the auditorium to watch the announcement live.
It was very exciting. I had goosebumps. I'm not sure why. It was very exciting, though, to be a part of it.
I just kept thinking how lucky I was to be in, the auditorium with my whole school. It's such a big moment in the Catholic Church, and so to experience it with everybody was just really awesome.
Pope Leo XIV's public installation mass is set for Sunday, May 18th. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
Are you looking to invest in your home, increase its livability, increase its value, increase its curb appeal? Well, doors and windows are a great place to start, and there's no better place to start than Peach Doors and Windows.
Maybe the purpose of your home has changed. Maybe you're an empty nester, or you just want to maximize the view of your home. Bring Peach your wish list. Think about out-of-the-box shapes and sizes. What you can imagine, Peach Doors and Windows can make happen. They can do renovations that other companies simply won't touch.
You can check out all of their 5-star reviews on Google, where customers rate Peach throughout every step of the process. From sales to installation, they will make sure you get exactly what you want. Check out their website at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can give them a call, 801-566-1255. They do free in-home estimates.
Or better yet, check them out in person, 2940 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, or check them out online, peachbuildingproducts.com.
As we move from spring and into summer, community groups are hitting the streets, the parks, and more, all to clean up and beautify their neighborhoods. This idea leads us to today's question of the day. As a reminder, we are dedicating one segment per show to hearing from you, the listeners, about how the news of the day is impacting your life. We want to hear your comments and concerns, and we'll do that by posing a question of the day, then asking you to respond either on the KSL News Radio app or by phone. And it's really easy to do on the app. You just open that app, and at the very bottom, you see the call-in tab. You just touch that. Tell us your first name and where you're calling from, and then give us a quick response to the question. You can also call us if you'd like. Leave your message at 801-575-4606. And each day around 1:35, we'll share some of your thoughts and have a discussion about the story. So here's the question of the day. What are you doing, or what have you done in your neighborhood or community to beautify the area? Tell us about the community projects in your area. Again, leave us your name, where you're calling from, and then your response on the KSL News Radio app. Tap that call-in tab or call and leave your message at 801-575-4606, and we'll discuss more about that on Monday at about 1:35. Utah is full of cool stuff, neat history, weird places, fun stories. The Arrow's John Smith will share some of the cool things that he's found after the break. But first, let's take a look at traffic. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style Homegrown Loans. Ricky?
We do have roadwork slowdowns that remain northbound I-15 from Sunset up to the I-84 junction in Riverdale. The cleanup of a small accident northbound I-15 about 6 north, and slowdowns southbound I-15 at the south interchange into Midvale. UDOT construction alert. Plan ahead as up to 3 lanes on I-15 from 7200 south in Midvale to 90th south in Sandy will be closed at night for paving. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimers.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
It's finally the weekend, meaning it's finally time to have some fun. And thanks for being with me today on Midday. The Arrow's John Smith has a YouTube series called Cool Stuff in Utah. Each Friday, he's going to join us and talk about the cool things that he's found. John Smith is here to talk cool stuff in Utah. Thank you so much for coming on and just helping us understand some fun things to do this weekend and to talk about your video podcast as well. So let's start with this weekend. What do we have that's fun that we can do this weekend?
I always love it, Maria, when people say, oh, there's nothing to do in Utah. And I always say the same thing. You're right. Don't move here.
No.
No, there is so much
stuff
to do. Not only are we going to have great weather for Mother's Day, right? So you're going to be able to do your planting and plant mom's flowers or maybe go hiking and bike riding and stuff like that. Going to be great. But if you're looking for things to do, Jack White of the White Stripes playing on Saturday. How about that?
Wow.
So that show is going to be at the Union. Tickets are still available for that one. Great show downtown.
Mm-hmm.
The Salt Lake Bees are going to be playing on Saturday out at daybreak. So you can
Good
go catch
chance
a game.
to check out that new stadium.
Awesome. It's an
Ballpark?
amazing experience, by the way. I don't know if you've been out there.
Have not.
I've only been on the grass seats. I haven't sat in the seats yet, but
Mhm.
just sitting out on the grass is fantastic. So that's going on. And then if you like the oldies, if you like the classics, the Love and Spoonful going to be playing the Egyptian in Park City on Saturday.
That is fun.
You believe that?
That is fun. So if you get tired of the heat already on Saturday, you can head to the mountains. Go to Park City.
Take the weekend. Take mom up there. Grab a night stay, and then go see the Love and Spoonful. How about that? And then coming up next week, the Kilby Block Party is next weekend. So big 2-day event.
Already.
Tons of bands. It's going to be here. Start hydrating now. And then
It's a marathon, isn't it?
Real Salt Lake is back in town on Wednesday. So they're on the road right now, but RSL going to be taking the pitch Wednesday out at the Riot. So you've got a whole list of things to do this week.
Perfect weather for all of those things. Let's talk just for a second about the Kilby Block Party.
Yes.
Is this something that you have attended?
Absolutely.
I know people, but it's not something I've ever done. What would you tell folks about that?
Drink lots of water. And just keep an eye out because you never know what band is going to be playing when and what you're going to see. And you're going to see like band members of your favorite bands walking around to catch the other shows. It's a really social environment. I don't know if you remember the Warped Tour or the big shows that used to come through town, but it really reminds me of that Warped Tour aspect. You know, being an 80s and 90s kid, loving the punk rock, it really reminds me of that really friendly concert vibe.
Are there any bands this year that you are specifically watching for or anything you are personally excited to be taking part in? Or do you just like the whole vibe?
Absolutely. At Kilby, you've got the whole thing, right? Every band is going to be amazing. You're going to see some new music. You're going to see bands that you may not have heard of before. But then you're going to see Weezer and Justice and St. Vincent, 3 of my favorite artists. But I'm most excited to see a band that I've never seen before, which is kind of rare, being that I've been on the radio for 30 years and been going to concerts. New Order.
Really?
New Order headlining the Kilby Block Party. So you've also got Devo. You've got Built to Spill, another great new wave band. So if you love the 80s stuff, if you love the 90s stuff, and if you're looking to find some new bands that you may never have heard of before, perfect opportunity.
Looks like, or it sounds like a little bit of something for everyone.
Right? Totally. So I know our boss Kevin is going to be out there.
Oh, always. Okay, before I let you go, I want to talk about what you have coming out next week on Cool Stuff Utah. You have on your video podcast.
Right.
You're going to be talking about one of my old haunts. Tell us what you're talking about.
I'm so excited that you know this building. So we do a YouTube series called Cool Stuff in Utah. If you look it up on YouTube, you'll see more than 70 videos that I kind of just wander into old buildings around the state of Utah and just kind of tell people what we drive past every day. And then I kind of give you a little peek about some of the stuff that you don't get to see. So we've been inside the Masonic Temple. We've been inside the Salt Lake Tabernacle building and seen some of the hard to see areas in there. But last week, I was wandering past a building that I have been fascinated with since it closed down in, I want to say 2003. The Old Children's Museum, a.k.a. the Old Warm Springs Plunge on Highway 89, right at the border of North Salt Lake. Creepy old building, right?
So make sure to tune in again next Friday at about 1:50. John will tell us about the Warm Springs Plunge in Salt Lake City, which is currently undergoing renovations. Now, you can also check out his fun videos on YouTube. Just search for Cool Stuff in Utah.
why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side?
An American icon is marking a 70th birthday. ABC's Brian Clark has the green details.
Been 70 years since a live-action puppet show called Sam and Friends premiered on local TV in Washington, D.C. Some of its characters may seem familiar.
Oh, I'm taking a course in visual thinking. It teaches you how to visualize your thoughts. What?
That was Kermit in a later episode of the show created by then 18-year-old Jim Henson. Not many episodes of the show survived, but it was a springboard for Henson's work at Sesame Street and with the Muppets. Brian Clark, ABC News.
And our executive producer is in here with me, Andy Cupp. And what are these props you brought with you? These visual props you brought in here with you?
We got this, and I have to look at exactly the right camera. This is from our news director, Becky Bruce. She is a longtime, huge Kermit fan. And so she gave us this little The Lovers, the Dreamers, and Me rainbow thing. And you've got a couple little Pez dispensers
Kermit,
there.
Pez, and...
Fuzzy?
I'm not sure which one he is. We needed Becky for
Becky's
this.
not gonna
So many
enjoy this.
great,
I'm sorry.
fond Sesame Street memories.
Fozzie Bear.
Fozzie, thank you.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A proposal to sell some public lands in southern Utah.
The net impact will be to reduce the federal debt and deficit through fair market value sales of targeted lands needed by local governments for infrastructure, and the impact will be to 1/3 of a percentage of the federal land in the state.
The time is 2 o'clock on Friday, May 9th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get both sides of the proposal in Washington County. Also this hour, the severity of an animal hoarding case in Ogden becoming clearer thanks to new police camera footage. But first, our top stories. A mother in Payson and 4 kids were hit by a car in a crosswalk earlier this week. Sergeant Nomi Sandoval with Payson Police says the driver didn't see them crossing when she tried to quickly turn left near Payson High School.
There was another vehicle coming west on 800 South, and she tried to hurry and turn left and shoot the gap.
Sandoval says they don't believe the driver was impaired. She just simply didn't see them. She was issued a citation for failure to yield. The mother took the brunt of that hit. She is expected to live, but her injuries are also said to be serious. 2 kids were also injured, but the other 2 kids were unscathed. Utah is getting its own form of Doge, kind of. KSL News Radio's Adam Small explains.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox is launching a new initiative called GRIT, aimed at improving the efficiency of the state government.
I hesitate a little bit to just say this is our version of Doge, but it is.
The governor says that one of the key differences with this and Doge is that the state does audits and cuts every single year, while the federal government does not. And because of that, he says they're not looking to just do mass layoffs or cut services.
Cox says there could be changes coming to some jobs or programs, but he says it's done with the goal of making them work better. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, another brief outage at one of the nation's busiest airports.
Air traffic control radar screens went black at Newark Liberty International Airport shortly before 4 Friday morning. One controller told a FedEx flight,
"If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff."
As heard on liveatc.net, hours after Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pledged a modernization.
This technology is 50 years old that our controllers use.
Technology problems and maintenance have created a travel nightmare for weeks at Newark. Brian Clark, ABC News.
American cardinals are celebrating the election of the first American pope in history. Pope Leo XIV is from Chicago. Cardinal Timothy Dolan of the Archdiocese of New York answered a question about whether the pope will make a point to meet with President Trump.
He would want to build bridges with the leader of every nation. So I don't think at all my brother cardinals would have thought of him as a counterweight to any one person.
Pope Leo held his first Mass today in the Vatican. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day by 119, down by 119 points, sitting at 41,249. S&P also down by about 4 points, but the NASDAQ was up by just a fraction. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
It looks like the afternoon drive has already kicked off for a Friday afternoon. Southbound traffic on I-15, heavy and slow between 53rd South Murray to 90th South Sandy, and again going through Draper, and construction delays both directions of I-15 in Weber County in Roy and Riverdale. Another true David versus Goliath miracle movie from director T.C. Christensen. See Raising the Bar, the story of high jumper Alma Richards' journey from rural Utah to an Olympic gold medal, in theaters now. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are experiencing some toasty temperatures. Today's high 82, but up to near 90 degrees for tomorrow and Sunday. Slight chance of rain for Mother's Day. 81 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget, no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sales. See delivery details.
Hi, it's Cindy Olsen here, and whether it's for mom, sister, daughter, or the new graduate, the perfect gift for her is at the Dave's Bernina Spring Sale in St. George and Provo. Discounts on all Bernina machines with a limited time offer of 48 months, no interest on certain models. Amazing savings on the Bernina 570 and 770 Quilter Edition machines with an incredible low price to add embroidery. Great deals on suitcase systems and big books to help with quilting, serging, and embroidery. Get this. Buy the Bernina 590 or 790 Pro and get free gift bundles worth over $3,600. Bernina quilting machines are simply the best and save thousands of dollars in May while they last. Come in now for bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave's Bernina. Dave'sBernina.com.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Thanks for tuning in today. Federal land's a hot-button issue for those of us living in the West. In a state like Utah, which is full of public lands, we are all too familiar with the arguments for preserving land and capitalizing on the resources available on those lands. Then you have to throw in the discussions on whether the federal government, state government, or local government should be in control of those lands. Representative Celeste Malloy recently spoke during a congressional committee meeting about a proposal she has to sell some federal land in southern Utah. She joins me now to get into the heart of the story, the proposal and the motivation behind it. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us, and give us the overview of the plan.
So it's an amendment that I offered in the House Natural Resources portion of the reconciliation bill. So this is the big, beautiful bill that everybody's talking about that Congress is working on. There are 11 committees that have instructions to make adjustments where we find savings, find revenue, because reconciliation is a revenue bill. So in the natural resources section of that, I offered an amendment with Mark Amadei from Nevada for some land sales. And a lot of the messaging on this has been really hyperbolic. But the truth is, they're very targeted, small parcels of land that are needed for infrastructure for local governments. It's not a sell-off of land. It's not even really part of the larger debate that we do need to have about who should control land in the West. This is, a 1-acre parcel for a well for a city and a parcel that connects 2 trails near Zion National Park and some land that allows us to do the roads that go around Zion National Park so that not everybody has to go through the tunnels. These are things that facilitate getting out and enjoying our public lands, enhance the experience at the national parks. But there has been a lot of concern that this is going to be something that destroys the parks or creates development outside of Zion. None of this is development land. It's infrastructure, targeted small parcels. So parcels will be sold at fair market value, and that creates revenue for the federal government. But the connectivity and the infrastructure these parcels provide for also helps stimulate the local economy when you can have roads that connect, trails that connect, water reuse and conservation, and that also helps with revenue.
So what will happen in the process of selling these lands? Will you be looking at who they are sold to? How will that work?
So there's an existing process for the federal government to dispose of lands. This is nothing new. It's been happening for as long as Utah's been a state, probably, because the majority of the land in the state is managed, controlled by the federal government. So local governments have to do this all the time. In order to make roads connect, in order to build a school, in order to expand the airport in St. George, they have to buy parcels of federal land. This is just us directing them to go through the existing process that they have for that.
So what do the local leaders in Washington County think of this idea?
They created the map. So we worked with Washington County to make sure we have the right parcels that they need for infrastructure. We worked with St. George City. Some of the smaller cities have called and said they didn't feel like they knew enough about it. And so I'm working with them now to make sure they're in the loop. That was an oversight on my part that I should have reached out a little sooner. This all happened really quickly with the reconciliation process, where we had to make decisions on really short notice about what to include and whether to include anything.
Appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
And that is U.S. Representative for Utah's 2nd Congressional District, Celeste Malloy. Again, thanks for chatting with me today. Stay with us. We'll be back with more on the story in just 60 seconds.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Thanks for being with me today. We are continuing our discussion on a proposal to sell some public lands in southern Utah. Before the break, we spoke with Representative Celeste Malloy about the plan. Here she is speaking in Congress earlier this week.
Washington County, home to the city of St. George in southwest Utah in my district, is one of the fastest growing counties in the country. The influx of new residents, many from out of state, has significantly driven up housing demand. The median property value rose by almost 12% in just 2023. Because this is a desert region, Washington County is also proactively responding to the increasing pressures of water resources and water use. Many of the difficulties we face at a local level are, of course, related to the fact that the county is surrounded by federal land. Approximately 82% of the county is federally managed, mostly BLM. The high percentage of federal lands impacts the local government's ability to work on economic and transportation development, manage natural resources, and fully take advantage of recreational activities.
On Midday, it's important to get all sides of the story, all the perspectives. To help us with this, we have Kyle Rohrink. He is the Executive Director of the Great Basin Water Network. Kyle, thanks for being with us. Give us an overview. Why are you and your group opposed to this proposal?
Yeah, I think ideologically, we do not think that we should be selling off our public assets as a nation. Federal lands are a part of of that bailiwick, we should not be selling them off to fund major tax cuts for billionaires and the wealthy. And while there's a lot of rhetoric about housing in this proposal from members of Congress, there are really no guarantees that you're going to actually get affordable housing, for example. And so I think housing is being used as rhetoric to justify tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. Next, we work in the driest places in the nation throughout Nevada and Utah. And unfortunately, you can't fill up Lake Mead and Lake Powell with rhetoric about housing, or you can't fill up Lake Mead or Lake Powell with rhetoric about tax cuts either. As it stands today, Lake Mead is about 1/3 full. Lake Powell is about 1/3 full. We are expecting reservoir elevations to drop this summer. We did not have a great winter. We did not have a great runoff season, and we are facing a great amount of uncertainty. Colorado River management right now is really at an unprecedented place. We know that upper basin states and lower basin states are quarreling. Their heels are dug in. We're waiting for agreements that have not been finalized. There's been no movement on them. So I think from the big picture perspective, we're talking about water availability, and we're also talking about why are we selling off public lands to generate funds for billionaires. And that's what this reconciliation process is all about. You can have this type of effort in Congress, and I've worked in Congress during a reconciliation process, and it's about making things balance out, taking another crack at the budget in overly simplified terms. So that's what we're really doing here. This process that's going on in Congress is not some effort solely about housing. It's about tax cuts for the ultra wealthy.
It's really interesting. Usually when we talk about public lands, the criticism is over drilling or the damage to public lands. But in this particular instance, that's not what we're talking about.
No, it's about the ownership, and I think from an ideological perspective, there are many of us and many of my supporters and members of our organization believe that public lands are a public trust asset, and you do not have to be wealthy to have ownership in one of the great wealths of our world, and that's our public lands in the American West. These are places that inspire and they give hope, and they are just an inherent part of what it means to be an American. And every time that we peel them off and give them away to private entities or other entities for the purposes of making money, we are degrading our public trust assets and our values as Americans.
Kyle, appreciate your perspective. Thanks for being with me. That is Kyle Roerink. He's the executive director of the Great Basin Water Network. Utah's first Palestinian-American member of the state legislature is sharing his thoughts on being a Palestinian in Utah, given the ongoing war between Israel and Palestine. More on that in just a minute. But first, let's check KSL traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style Homegrown Loans. Ricky?
Right now, I'm looking for what is causing Draper delays on southbound I-15. I'm not seeing an accident, but it's already heavy and slow from 53rd South all the way into Draper, approaching 123rd South, where as you're approaching that point, traffic almost at a standstill. And then we have our road work causing slowdowns north and southbound I-15 in Weber County. Going northbound, it's from Sunset through Riverdale, and then the southbound delays go from Riverdale, approaching and passing the I-84 junction. The secret to healthy, thriving plants is great soil. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost is a game changer for your veggie garden, flower beds, and trees. Oakdale Farms Organic compost at oakdale.com. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Have a minute?
I love Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News.
It's more of a personal take on the news from Jeff.
Get caught up on the latest news and hear Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News for thought-provoking, playful commentary.
It's usually funny.
Like he's said before, it varies from day to day, and it's always entertaining.
My Minute of News, it puts a smile on my face.
If you have a minute, you need to catch Jeff's Minute. My Minute of News, weekdays from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
In the next few years, Utah will be stepping into the future of clean energy. With growing power demands and a need for sustainable solutions, nuclear energy is making its way to our state. Clean and reliable, nuclear power can keep the lights on without polluting the air we breathe. Small modular reactors, or SMRs, are a new kind of nuclear. Safe, compact, and built in the U.S., they automatically shut down in emergencies and use only a fraction of the water. New small modular reactors are compact, advanced nuclear plants designed to be incredibly safe. They produce zero emissions and can run 24/7, rain or shine. Unlike other power sources, nuclear energy provides constant, clean power and will help Utah meet demand. It also means local jobs, energy independence, and a cleaner environment for future generations. To learn the facts about nuclear energy coming to Utah, visit the Utah Office of Energy's website at energy.utah.gov. That's energy.utah.gov. Here with Matt Ashdown from True Rinse Carpet Cleaning. Matt, people are diving into spring cleaning. What can you share about cleaning inside the home?
Spring's the perfect time to hit reset and clean out filth and sickness that Utah winters bring into our homes. Carpet and rugs are a giant filter, so now's the time to clean and refresh. Our couches have taken a beating too. They're full of allergens, hairs, oils, spills, and things you probably don't even want to think about. They definitely need a spring refresh.
Yeah, True Rinse does things differently though, right?
True Rinse has been a professional carpet cleaning business for over 20 years. With countless hours of training, our technicians apply state-of-the-art cleaning techniques using powerful combinations of water, heat, suction, and no harsh chemicals, delivering a safe, effective clean and a quicker dry time. That's why people choose True Rinse and stay loyal.
And you got a spring offer.
Yes, spring into savings. Get 3 areas clean for just $119.
3 areas for $119. Schedule now at TrueRinse.com. That's TrueRinse.com, Utah's carpet cleaning experts.
I wish I knew about IWC Roofing 2 years ago. This is Jeff Kaplan, and when I needed a new roof, nice guy came over, he had a decent price, but he didn't work on the roof. I got an ever-changing cast of characters who disrupted our lives for 4.5 days of smashing, banging, the dogs going berserk. But listen to this. IWC Roofing will replace your roof in a single day. Minimal disruption to your life, and they'll do it at a lower price for one simple reason. They're the #1 residential roofing contractor in Utah, and they do it on volume. A finely tuned team of trained employees take care of business in a single day, and they'll leave behind the best 50-year warranty in the business. Afterward, they'll even power wash your driveway just to say thank you. And right now, to get your business, IWC will give you $1,500 off your quote. They offer flexible financing, so call the highest-rated roofing contractor in Utah, 801-841-2700. That's 801-841-2700, or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See here for full details and disclaimer.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The United Nations is rejecting a plan by the U.S. and Israel to provide humanitarian aid to those in Gaza. The UN says the proposal will not only create serious insecurity risks, but also fails to meet Israel's obligations under international law. Olga Cherveko, a spokesperson for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, tells CNN about plans that are in motion right now to distribute aid to that war-torn region.
So it's very simple. We have a system that works. We had shown during the weeks of the ceasefire how quickly and effectively we can deliver aid to the people and how quickly we can alleviate the suffering of the people who are absolutely exhausted. You're absolutely right. After all these months of fighting, of displacement, of trauma, and everything else. So this system has specific mechanisms to mitigate diversion, to mitigate any kind of incidents that would divert this aid from going to the people that it needs to go to. And it ensures that the aid comes to where the people are and not vice versa. We have, for example, 400 distribution sites across Gaza. So we go to where the people are to make sure that the most vulnerable, who of course need this aid the most, are reached. And what needs to happen is the crossings need to reopen for the entry of cargo. And I'm not just talking about humanitarian aid, I'm talking about the commercial center restarting.
U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee admits that the U.S. plan to funnel humanitarian aid into parts of Gaza will initially feed only about 60% of that population. The continuing conflict in Gaza and the dire humanitarian conditions are hitting home for one Utahn. In November, Salt Lake County constituents elected the state's first Palestinian-American lawmaker. We have an in-depth look at the new representative and his thoughts on the conflict.
I'm Representative Grant Amjad Miller. I'm the first Palestinian American to serve in the Utah State Legislature.
Democratic House Representative Grant Amjad Miller says he's seen the impacts of the conflict between Israel and Gaza firsthand since he was elected to office.
Whenever there's an escalation of violence in Gaza, in Israel, it hits home. As a state representative, I represent House District 24 in downtown Salt Lake City. It's a very diverse place. We have a significant Muslim contingent. We have a mosque in my district. We also have a significant Jewish contingent. We also have a synagogue in my district.
There are few statistics on how many Arab and Jewish people are in Utah. The U.S. Census estimates about 17,000 Arab Americans in the state in 2017, the highest residency in Salt Lake County. The number of Palestinian Americans in the state is just a small fraction of that. The Deseret News reported in 2023 there are an estimated 6,000 Jewish people in the state. Despite both groups being a minority, Miller says every time there's an escalation of violence in the Middle East,
that ripples over to Utah. And both of these communities, both the Arab, Palestinian, Muslim community and the Jewish community, become subject to ridicule, scrutiny, and threats.
This week, Israeli cabinet ministers voted to seize and occupy the Gaza Strip for an indefinite amount of time. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell outlined earlier this week what this move could mean.
Israel approving plans to seize control of the entire Gaza Strip, calling up tens of thousands of reservists, a massive military mobilization. A senior Israeli official saying if no hostage and ceasefire deals reached by the time President Trump finishes his trip to the Middle East next week, a new offensive will begin.
The AP reports Israel's offensive has displaced more than 90% of Gaza's population, something that Miller thinks will only be made worse by Israel's recent vote and continue to add to the growing number of Palestinians scattered by the conflict.
There are about 6 to 7 million Palestinians in the diaspora, and I'm a product of that.
Representative Miller's mother was born in the West Bank.
And then one of my uncles applied for a scholarship in Wisconsin to study agriculture and got it. My mom went to go visit him, met my father as a native Wisconsinite. They fell in love, got married. I was born.
Miller moved to Utah when he was 1 to the district that he now represents.
And that's really special for me.
And he can't help but imagine a world where he never ended up in Utah and instead was raised in the West Bank.
It's pretty much the grace of God that I'm here in Utah and I serve and have the privilege of serving as a state representative. And I didn't grow up in a place that is subject to such extraordinary violence.
He says he's mostly had a positive reaction since he decided to get involved in politics, but
I remember I was walking with my family in Liberty Park, and there was this guy on a scooter, came by, saw me, shouted, "All Palestinians deserve to die." There was a lot of vitriol and epithets on the internet, on my Instagram, that sort of thing.
But it hasn't been all bad. During his campaign, Miller says Jewish community members reached out to help him host events and knock on doors.
That I'd say, hey, I'm Palestinian, right? You're Jewish. And they said, it's not about that. What we're worried about is anti-Semitism. You're Palestinian. You're not anti-Semitic. There's a huge difference.
As the war continues in the Middle East, Miller's ask is that people continue to self-educate and seek out communities that are different from their own.
If you have a friend who's Palestinian or Jewish, reach out to them and check up on them. This is hard on everybody. And a lot of this is becoming a contest of who's suffering more, and that's not what it's about. It can't be what it's about. Take care of your community members first, and is, with hope that the horrors in Gaza will cease, and that Palestinians don't have to be depossessed of their land and their homes, and that they can coexist, that both Palestinians and Israelis can coexist. There's got to be a world where that happens.
Jessica Lowell, KSL News Radio.
State Representative Grant Amjad Miller is also an attorney at the Salt Lake Legal Defenders Association. We are also learning now that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has canceled his trip to Israel, which had been planned for Monday in order to join President Trump on Air Force One for his trip to the Middle East. He was supposed to meet with his counterpart, Israel Katz, and Prime Minister Netanyahu, and get briefings aboard an Israeli Navy ship off the coast of Gaza. That was also on their agenda. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Elizabeth Smart now speaking out about the rearrest of one of her kidnappers. New details on a major dog hoarding case in Ogden. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
We do have delays southbound I-15 from the South Interchange into Draper, where a listener letting us know it was metal debris in the center lanes causing that backup, and delays northbound I-15, Roy and Riverdale with roadwork. Maria?
Thanks, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. First, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. As GOP lawmakers work on a budget bill, President Trump now requesting a new tax bracket for the highest income earners. ABC's Selena Wang has details.
The president in this Truth Social post said he would be, quote, fine with Republican lawmakers raising taxes on the wealthy, but he acknowledged the political challenges of doing so. But if you read this post, his position still remains unclear. He's writing that even a tiny tax increase on the rich would lead to criticism from Democrats. He goes on to say that Republicans probably should not pursue it, but then he adds, quote, I'm okay if they do.
The U.S. interim U.S. Attorney of New Jersey, Alina Habba, announced arrest today at an ICE detention center, including Democratic Mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, after joining members of Congress there. Habba, in a social media post, says Baraka committed trespass. No federal charges have been filed yet. And Pope Leo led his first mass today at the Sistine Chapel. This is ABC News.
Time now for KSL's top local story. House Majority Leader Jefferson Moss is resigning from the Utah House of Representatives. Today, Governor Cox appointed Moss to serve as the executive director for the governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. His resignation will go into effect May 30th. The House Majority Caucus will hold a special leadership election in the coming weeks. Multiple reports say President Trump is on the verge of creating a new college sports commission that could craft rules that would have a big impact on our local college teams.
These reports say President Trump wants former Alabama football coach Nick Saban to lead this proposed commission and create new rules to regulate what kids can get paid in their name, image, and likeness deals. They'd also likely talk about transfer rules and even conference alignments. KSL Sports Zone host Scott Gerard says college athletics right now is kind of the wild, wild west.
Many coaches, including in the state of Utah, that have been begging federal government to get involved in some way, shape, or form to try to help regulate what's going on right now.
Gerard says overall schools are fine with athletes getting NIL deals, but they would like some regulations. so that these deals aren't used to steal players. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Weber County Animal Shelter is getting their last 13 dogs from the Ogden animal hoarding case ready to foster and adopt. Now, they posted on Facebook that they are all small breed dogs who will need a lot of patience and time to adjust. The shelter says the dogs are not potty trained and are still scared, but they're eager to learn and to find a loving home. Now, the shelter will start posting photos and information about each dog once their evaluations are done. Other local stories KSL is following. A water park in Provo is hoping to move a little farther south and east, but most neighborhood residents in the proposed area say that they don't want it.
The supposed benefits that are proposed will not trickle down to the residents of Provo. Minimum wage jobs or maybe tip jobs at a resort does not build and sustain our community.
During a community meeting, Kristen Matthews also took exception to a reference from the developers to the unhoused population often found in Slate Canyon. Brian Bayless represents the developer.
The park will be world-class, including modern amenities, immersive experiences, and elevated standards of comfort, convenience, and safety.
If approved, Splash Summit Water Park would move from its current location to the mouth of Slate Canyon. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 119 points, closing at 41,249. S&P 500 down by 4. The NASDAQ up by just a fraction. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
In Utah County, we have a new accident. It's at the on-ramp to southbound I-15 at Lehigh Main Street on the right, and already delays are in place before the Friday afternoon rush kicks in. This is southbound I-15, pretty solid at times between 53rd South Murray into Sandy and Draper. UTA is road therapy. Give your car a break and get more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are going to need our sunscreen this weekend. It's going to be toasty. Pull out the shorts. 82 for today's high. Tomorrow, 88. 88 on Sunday, just a very slight chance of showers. 81 degrees now at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Hey, it's Brian with Olson's Greenhouse. In today's busy world, your home should be your sanctuary. A peaceful retreat where you can unwind, breathe deeply, and recharge. And what better way to create that haven than with flowers? A pop of color in your flower beds, a cheerful container garden by the front door, or a lush patio filled with vibrant blooms can transform any space into a personal oasis. Flowers don't just brighten up your home, they lift your spirits too. Research even shows that surrounding yourself with plants can reduce stress and boost happiness. At Olson's Greenhouse, we grow premium quality plants that make it easy to bring beauty and joy into your life. Whether you prefer bold, eye-catching colors or soft, soothing pastels, we have the perfect flowers to complement your space. And with locally grown plants, you know they're ready to thrive. This spring, create a sanctuary of color and comfort with flowers from Olson's Greenhouse. Find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens or go to ogg.com to find a retailer near you. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. For those who are used to hearing inside sources at this time, we welcome you to this new show. Our goal is to report the news and tell the stories of the people behind it. We'll dig deeper, ask the important questions, and share the stories that connect us all. We are hearing directly from Elizabeth Smart following the rearrest of one of her kidnappers. Earlier this week, we learned that Wanda Barzee was back in jail for violating the conditions of her probation. In an online video, Elizabeth is talking about the news of Barzee's arrest.
I want to begin by saying thank you to everyone for your continued support. I never ever take it for granted. As I'm sure many of you heard, Wanda Barzee was recently arrested for entering a public park in Salt Lake City, a place where she's legally barred from going because she's a registered sex offender. Her justification was that she was commanded by the Lord, which unfortunately is very familiar to me and is probably the most concerning thing because that's how they justified kidnapping me. I feel like I've been vocal about my concerns since Barzee's initial release, and this incident confirms exactly why. I am so grateful to the Salt Lake Police Department and Chief Red for their quick and professional response. They handled this situation with a trauma-informed approach, which means so much to me personally. When authorities take these situations, these violations seriously, it sends a very powerful message that survivors' safety matters. My case received so much attention, but the sad truth is that most survivors never see their perpetrators arrested, let alone convicted. For many survivors of sexual violence, we have more of a legal system than a justice system. This incident highlights exactly why we need to center survivors in our legal processes. We often understand the risk others may overlook, frankly. I urge policymakers and justice officials to view this as a reminder that sex offender registries and release conditions exist for important reasons. When community leaders and institutions come together with a shared commitment, real change, it actually is possible. I believe in a future where all survivors can be heard, believed, and supported. That is what we are working towards in the Elizabeth Smart Foundation. That's why we started the Elizabeth Smart Foundation. And personally, this situation for me, I turn back to the advice my own mother gave me the day after I was rescued, where she said, they've already stolen 9 months of your life away from you. Do not let them steal another second. You need to move forward with your life and you need to be happy. And I have always tried to follow that advice to the best of my ability. So although this situation has arisen, I refuse to live my life in fear. I refuse to allow anyone to stop me from living.
Elizabeth Smart releasing a video statement on her foundation's social media to address the rearrest of one of her kidnappers, Wanda Barzee. We're getting a better picture as to the severity of an animal hoarding case in Ogden. Body cam footage shows the moment police served a search warrant at the home with 157 dogs and 11 cats back in April.
Ogden City Police! Search warrant! Come to the door!
There's like 40 right here. Ogden City Police! If you're inside, make yourself known. We have a search warrant.
The body cam video shows dozens of Chihuahua-like dogs hopping around on stacked up boxes and other junk that's accumulated in the house. Now, it's not just what they are seeing that's disturbing, but you can hear the complaining about the smell. They are complaining about the smell because it was just that strong.
My eyes burn. Ammonia is not good, bro.
We have hazmat suits in our trucks. I don't know.
You guys might need them later,
We are, but
You definitely.
let's we're gonna get our masks real
I
quick.
mean, what's the concern that there's more people in here? I mean, this is...
2 more animals have now died, making it 3 total that have died as a result of the horrific conditions. 2 men have now been charged with hundreds of counts of animal cruelty because of the unsanitary and overcrowded conditions in that home. Miguel Salgado Vargas was originally charged with more than 600 counts. His nephew, Ramon Ispiro, also lived in the home. He's now facing 300-plus charges as well. You can see the body cam footage posted on our social media accounts and online at kslnewsradio.com. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, what a great place to have dinner anytime, but for special occasions, it truly is wonderful. Now, I know Mother's Day is in the rearview mirror now, but that's where Dee and I celebrated, and each and every order, each and every steak cooked to absolute perfection. You're going to love what Ruth's Chris Steakhouse can do for you for any meal and any special occasion. And there are 2 locations. There's Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City at 275 South on West Temple. When that entree comes to your table, it is on a sizzling hot 500-degree plate to make sure whatever you ordered, whether it's a steak, seafood, poultry, whatever it may be, is warm and delicious to the very last bite. The desserts are just beyond compare. The side dishes, the service. It's time for you to experience Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Finally, a great weekend to spend in the outdoors doing whatever you love. For some, that might be biking along the Jordan River Trail, the Parleys Trail, or even the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. We are seeing more and more e-bikes on the roads and trails as their popularity has taken off. I visited Contender Bicycles on 9th and 9th here in Salt Lake City to see what's happening in the e-bike world and chatted with owner Ryan Littlefield.
We're seeing a lot of people who are just like curious about it, you know, and for sure there's some people that are maybe getting their second one, but there's a lot of people that just kind of want to kind of like, you know, feel it out, and then trying to figure out like how they'd use it and things like that are the important parts. Yeah.
So what should they think about? I mean, what are the things that they should consider when looking at all the different types of bikes?
Yeah, for sure. So I think first, you know, where and how they think they're going to use it, right? Are you going to use it as a mountain bike? Are you going to use it to go on rides with people on kind of the more traditional bikes? Or are you going to use it more in like a utilitarian way where you might, you know, ride to the grocery store and commute to work, or, you know, drop the kids off at school, those type of things?
Yeah. What's the biggest question you get from folks who come in and they're just kind of checking it out?
Yeah, for sure. That people, I think just like with electric cars, there's, you know, a lot of questions about the batteries, and people have kind of like the range anxiety, which I think on bikes is probably not a problem in most cases. You know, maybe there's that one day every couple of months where you have 3 or 4 hours to go for a ride and you're like pushing the limits of the battery, but that's one thing people are concerned about. And for sure there, you know, there's a broad price range, so cost is a question for sure.
So when you talk about range, though, isn't the range just pretty large on most of these bikes?
The bikes are super capable. It's almost kind of disheartening to see that this little battery, how much it can do, you know, compared to your body. So obviously the things that challenge the battery are big hills and heavier riders, you know, so that's the bike companies have definitely, just like in cars, the batteries have come a long way. And, you know, and then for the people who are worried, they have like extenders, like a battery that's built in like a big water bottle or things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, with all of the talk of tariffs, is that impacting your business and getting e-bikes or the cost of e-bikes?
It certainly will. Some of the e-bikes that are from kind of like the brands that weren't in the cycling industry before e-bikes, where they're sourcing those will be the brands that have the biggest challenge. Because of like the last Trump administration, when they had the tariffs, a lot of the bike brands mitigated their exposure, and so they've already kind of moved to other more friendly places. So there'll definitely be increases. Hopefully it's not super significant. Yeah.
So you're a bike guy, not necessarily an e-bike guy. First of all, just talk to me about how you got started with biking and why it's your thing.
Yeah, so I started, like probably a lot of people around here, I started riding because I thought it was a great way to stay in shape for skiing. And then at some point, riding talked me into not skiing very much anymore. But
okay, but you have now really seen the benefits of an e-bike.
The benefits to like the masses is that it's way more accessible to everybody. And again, like somebody can ride with their spouse, or they can ride, they can ride with their son or whatever. That's, kind of levels the playing field. I always tell people, like, one thing I really like about the mountain bike is, or I mean, the e-bike in general, if you're going out with the idea of getting a workout, you're maybe a little more willing to like empty your own tank, knowing you have this battery to fall back on, which is kind of cool, right? Or you might be a little more willing to go further than you would normally because you have your own range anxiety. And so being able to get home and in the future you just use a little less of the motor or whatever. So there's a ton of health benefit to it still. Yeah.
I guess what I was looking for is just kind of the experience of riding. I know for me, when I get on my bike, suddenly the rest of the world kind of disappears. So I'm wondering what that's like for you.
I totally agree. Like it requires just the right amount of like focus that your head has to be in one place, right? You can't be riding and, worrying about your taxes in your head, so that's kind of a cool thing. And then I still love the kind of the social aspect of it too, right? Like I can go out and ride with 3 or 4 friends or ride with my wife and just, you're having fun and you're doing something together, but you can still have a conversation and just kind of share the experience. Yeah.
Just anything that you might want to add?
Give it a good try because it's super fun. And, I also feel like there is a little, angst, around e-bikes, so to speak. And I think we have to keep in mind that like, I think everybody can have fun on them, and like there'll be one in all of our lifetimes for us who are like biking enthusiasts, right? Like, and whether that comes at whatever age or whatever, that just be open to them and people using them because we're all just trying to have fun and better than someone being in a car. So that's how I look at it.
And if you were considering an e-bike, we also have a video that you have to check out. Ryan walks us through the 4 main types of e-bikes, including a cargo bike. Now, you can find that video on KSL News Radio's Instagram account. You can also hear more about the benefits of e-biking and bike safety on the Let's Get Moving with Maria podcast. That's available wherever you get your podcasts. For our final segment on today's Midday, we'll talk about Mother's Day and the things that truly make this day special. Stay with us. First, a look at traffic is brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle Homegrown Home Loans.
We've had another accident eastbound I-80. It's after 7th East and before 1300 East. It had been blocking a left lane, causing some delays, and now we're seeing big backups on those exit ramps at 7th and 13th East. Also, delays already in place for your southbound drive home on I-15 from Murray into Sandy. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See you for full details and disclaimers.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
It's hard to believe, but summer's right around the corner. Make sure your home stays cool with a brand new air conditioner and get a free furnace for next winter. That's right. When you purchase the premium air conditioner or heat pump from Whipple Service Champions, you'll get a brand new furnace absolutely free. You just pay for the labor to install. This deal won't last long. Schedule your free estimate today. Book online at whipplethataway.com. whipplethataway.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We have 5 kids, 2 dogs, and we've bought 4 houses in the last 12 years. So our realtors helped us through the complexities of buying a house, the legalities of different property rights, right-of-ways, building concerns, or even ordinances, right?
If we were to try to do this on our own, we would have made a lot of financial mistakes. The realtor is now part of our family. She's who helps our family get to wherever our next chapter is.
Discover how a realtor can make a real difference at myrealtorstory.com.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. A lot of Americans say it's worth spending a good amount of cash to make sure that their moms feel appreciated on Mother's Day.
The National Retail Federation says that consumers spend on average for Mother's Day more than any other holiday, excluding the winter ones. So how much money are you willing to dish out for Mom?
100. She deserves that because she helps me.
A little less for some.
50. Because she wouldn't like it if I spent more.
And others don't plan to spend money at all.
I'm just going to make stuff by myself, and yeah.
The homemade or school-made gift, a favorite for a lot of moms.
A book that I made for her. At school, I did a How Well Do We Know Our Moms quiz. We did flowers and a picture of us, and we said what we loved about them the most.
The National Retail Federation says total spending for the holiday expected to exceed $34 billion with a B, with Americans planning to spend an average of $259. That's a slight boost from last year. The NRF's latest survey highlights the most popular Mother's Day gifts for this year. Topping the list, some of the classics: greeting cards, flowers, brunch or dinner, of course, and jewelry and clothes. I'm Clayton Neville.
Jeff Kaplan getting set for Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News in here with me. So, Jeff, what did you send your mom?
We sent her a pecan cake from some specialized bakery.
Okay, why a pecan cake?
Because, well, we did the fruit cake at Christmas time, and she really loves it. Okay, let me explain.
Okay.
My mother and
Yes.
I are the 2 people on this earth who love fruitcake.
You're right. The only 2 people I know.
Yeah, and it happens to be a fabulous fruitcake. So we decided to try this. My mom is 85.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at that point, you have probably much of everything that you need or want. And so it's hard to go down that road. So we go down treats.
So did you buy your wife something for Mother's Day?
Let's not talk about it.
Because your wife listens so much. Heather, okay, I won't let him talk about that. You know, I was thinking about Mother's Day. On my mom's last Mother's Day that we were able to celebrate with her, she bought me this beautiful snowball bush. And I planted it right outside the patio there where we celebrate Mother's Day. And right now it is in full bloom, full glorious bloom. And every Mother's Day, guess who I think about every second because I'm looking at this beautiful bush.
That's really nice. It's very affirming that you're a gardener and that you do this and that you have that from your mom. That's sweet.
Right. So what are you doing for Mother's Day?
We're hanging out. There might be a little cameo from some kids, grandkids, and
Love that. Love that.
I don't want to give away details, you know.
Okay. Well, Bob asked me what I wanted to do for Mother's Day, and I was a little surprised. I got all teary-eyed.
Why?
Because this has been the day that I usually plan and celebrate for the moms. And the moms are no longer with us. And that is really hard. So I just said, I just want to grill and I just want the kids to be here. That's all I need. Just want the kids to be here. I don't care what you grill, but that's what we need to do.
To be continued. So are the kids coming or do you know?
Oh, the kids are definitely coming.
Okay, so you're...
You know, I don't care if they buy me a thing. In fact, don't spend $100 on me for sure. But you've got to be there. It's all about, you know, being in the moment.
This is how time marches on.
It truly
You're
is.
the mom.
Yes. And I'm going to take a plant to the cemetery for my mom as well. You know, I'm wondering why this year I'm suddenly weepy. And I think it's because her last year of life was so traumatic for me. The condition that she was in, that was so painful, a painful memory, that now that it's passed a couple of years, I'm remembering all the wonderful things again about her. And so suddenly I'm getting a little weepy
This
about
is how mourning
Mother's Day without mom.
This is how mourning and grief works. You hope that you'll get past the pain and the anguish to the wonderful memories. And it's wonderful that you're in touch with them.
Yeah. Andy Cupp made me talk about this, the executive producer of the show, when I got weepy earlier this week. And you know what, Jeff, it's really a good reminder that the holidays are difficult for many people. I mean, so if you're a mom, happy Mother's Day. And if this is a day that you struggle with, may you find a new way to find joy in this holiday.
That's sweet.
Have a great weekend.
Maria, you asked me to come in here because you were scared you were going to get weepy when you talked about
but at
this.
least I didn't break down in tears.
Well, you kept it together.
Have a great show.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. Look at that. 81 degrees. KSL's top story. Utah's governor is rolling out something that sounds a lot like Doge. KSL News Radio's Adam Small with the story.
Today, Utah Governor Spencer Cox signed an executive order to launch the GRIT, or Government Reform, Innovation, and Transparency Initiative.
If something isn't delivering value to the citizens of this state, we should stop doing it and do something else with those limited resources that we have.
When asked if this was Utah's version of Doge, Cox said yes, but with the caveat state leaders do several audits a year already, so they're not just looking to make mass cuts to jobs or services.
Sometimes you slash something and the thing gets worse, right? We want to make things more efficient.
And while the governor said they don't plan on mass layoffs, he said
there may be some changes.
Cox says the project's changes and results will all be visible to the public. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We've been trying to reach state employees to find out what they think about today's GRIT announcement. So far, we haven't found any union officials or people in state government willing to speak on the record. You can text us your thoughts to 57500 here at KSL. Utah is once again one state representative short. That's because the House Majority Leader, Jefferson Moss, is set to resign, and he's going to run the governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, which now opens up a debate over his empty seat. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live to explain. Heather.
Jeff, Representative Moss is set to resign and step down from his position as the House Majority Leader on May 30th.
It's a great loss for the legislature. It's a great loss for the House Democrats because he's just worked so well with us.
House Minority Leader Angela Romero says she hopes House Republicans will choose someone similarly easy to work with when they have their special leadership election in the coming weeks. As for the seat he was elected to in the House, Utah GOP Chair Robert Axson says it's up to the Utah County delegates to decide who will fill it.
Obviously, Jefferson Moss is a Republican, so it goes to the Republican Party, and they convene the delegates who represent that legislative district.
The Utah County Republican Party is currently trying to set up a timeline for how soon that could happen. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time 3:02, our top national story this hour. It happened again at Newark Airport this morning. Air traffic control screens went black. Pilots were left to fly blind in the country's busiest airspace for the second time. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt here.
That glitch was caused by the same telecoms and software issues that were raised last week. Everything went back online after the brief outage, and there was no operational impact.
Mostly because the outage happened in the middle of the night when fewer planes were trying to take off or land at Newark. The mayor of that city, Newark, New Jersey, has been arrested after prosecutors say he trespassed at a federal immigration detention center. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more.
David Souter served as an associate justice for 19 years.